We may all be aliens, according to one Columbia University scientist. Scharf says life may have begun on Mars before coming to Earth on an asteroid. The radical theory, called panspermia, was first proposed in 1871 and has since been gaining traction among the scientific community. The panspermia theory suggests that Mars once had the right conditions for life to form, including water and an atmosphere. But an asteroid collision caused by rocks in the solar system hitting each other may have caused a chunk of life from Mars to land on Earth. Astronomer and director of the multidisciplinary Columbia Astrobiology Center at Columbia University, Scharf, told Business Insider, "We can find pieces of Mars here on Earth, and we suspect that there are pieces of Earth on Mars. If that material can carry living organisms on it, it's possible that we are Martian." Panspermia is not a new theory. It was first proposed in 1871, but it has more recently gathered fresh support as astronomers have discovered just how full the universe is with organic compounds. Although no evidence to prove this has yet been found, the idea of panspermia, which remains on the fringe of mainstream science, is not considered as far-fetched as it once was. Speaking to New Scientist, Peter Ward, a biologist at the University of Washington in Seattle, said, "I think the case for Mars as the origin of Earth life is pretty good." He added that should proof be found that life on Earth is extraterrestrial in origin, it would have some pretty major impacts on current scientific and religious thinking. He said, "It's a big blow. For some religious fundamentalists, it is an axiom that there is but one life and it is here on Earth." Many scientists have pointed at the apparent suddenness of life appearing on Earth around 3.8 billion years ago. At the same time, conditions to support life became perfect. Some scientists go further and say the entire Milky Way may be teeming with life. Professor Chandra Wickramasinghe, an astrobiologist at the University of Buckingham and longtime supporter of panspermia, believes Earth is constantly exchanging organic and even living material with planets around neighboring star systems. He was involved in the publication of several papers that found what he believes to be fossilized remains of organisms in meteorites and tiny algae-like organisms living high up in the Earth's atmosphere that have been carried here by passing comets. Speaking to New Scientist, Professor Wickramasinghe said, "This was conjecture in the past, purely theoretical, but now we have evidence for it. It's changing slowly but surely." In a paper published in 2015 in the Journal of Astrobiology, which Professor Wickramasinghe edits, he and his colleagues outline how they think life may have arrived here on Earth. They wrote, "Recent studies have led to detections of some 900 exoplanets in a nearby small sample volume of our galaxy. Extrapolations from this study give an estimate of 140 billion habitable planetary systems in our galaxy alone, most of these being associated with faint red dwarf stars. On such a basis, the mean distance between life-friendly planetary systems is only a few light years. This relatively short interplanetary distance is easily bridged by escaping dust, debris, meteorites and comets. Material expelled at speeds greater than the escape speed from a planetary system like our own solar system will, in general, have hyperbolic orbits with respect to a nearby star, so the probability of direct capture will in general be very low. However, submicron dust including bacteria and viruses released by transiting cometary bolides, even if they are in hyperbolic orbits, will easily be stopped by friction in the interplanetary disk of the recipient planetary system, and thus serve to infect habitable planets. Put more simply, organisms and molecules on comets traveling past planets could be deposited on that planet." Professor Wickramasinghe and his colleague Dr. Milton Wainwright point to the remains of apparent microorganisms collected 16 miles up in the stratosphere by a high-altitude balloon during the Perseid meteor shower in 2013. Most recently, they found a strange tiny titanium metal orb about the same width of a human hair surrounded by an organic goo in their samples. They have also studied meteorite material that contains structures which have been interpreted by some as fossilized microorganisms. However, the idea is also gathering some supporters from the more mainstream side of science. Only a few decades ago, scientists considered the idea of alien life unlikely, but now NASA scientists believe it is only a matter of time before evidence of life is discovered elsewhere in our solar system. The U.S. space agency is focusing on searching for signs of life on Mars, while the European Space Agency is looking to the Moon.